You know, there was this fascinating story over the past week, past 2 weeks, I guess, actually, about Casey White and Vicky White, two unrelated people. Casey was a convicted murderer, or yeah, I guess he was convicted. And Vicky White was a corrections officer, and they escaped. She helped him escape from jail, and they went on an 11-day statewide spree. They got out of the Lauderdale County Jail in Florence, Alabama on April 29th. And 300 miles away, they got busted. And Casey surrendered, and Vicky was found dead with a gunshot wound, self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. And I find this whole romancification of crime fascinating. And we just happen to have an expert on this topic in-house, an award-winning documentarian, the author of 5 books. You can find them on Amazon or wherever you find books, including Escaping the Arroyo and Reel to Reel, the video store murders. Joyce Nance. Joyce has written these true crime novels, essentially, that are just absolutely brilliant. Her website on Facebook is facebook.com/Joyce Nance, N-A-N-C-E, author. And Joyce also, generally speaking, is answering phone calls on this program. Hey, Joyce.
Hey, how's it going, Tom?
Great, great to hear from you inside the call screening room there. So you've written about these people. In fact, you visited, for one of your books, if I remember correctly, you visited somebody who was a convicted murderer in prison for weeks over the course of a year. Tell us about that.
Yes, on my book, Reel to Reel, the video store murders, one of the convicted criminals was a woman that was living at the New Mexico Women's Penitentiary outside of Grants, and I was in Albuquerque. And so I spent about a year going about twice a week. I mean, not twice a week, twice a month. To go visit her, and so I could understand her as a person, and that was very important to me, to have that inside information
for the book that you were writing. Yeah.
Yes.
So what is it? How did Vicky White, in your opinion, based on the books you've written about this and the actual murderers that you've known and interviewed, how did Casey White convince Vicky White to break him out of jail? He was in his mid-30s, she was in her mid-50s. How does that dynamic work out?
I don't know exactly how theirs worked out, but I do know that there is a lot of cases where men convince women to do stuff that they wouldn't otherwise do. And I don't know if it was he convinced her or she convinced him, because she was actually the person in real power in that case. But, I assume that there was some romantic involvement, at least intellectually at first. And they decided to act on it, and she had the wherewithal to pull it off.
Isn't this the sort of thing where you've got, in this case, Casey White, the man who's almost certainly a psychopath? I mean, he's a convicted murderer. And psychopaths can be very, not just clever, but they can be very charming. They figure out the particular weakness or need that their victim has and then use that against them. Do I have that right?
Yes, they are very charming. In fact, when I was visiting the woman in the penitentiary, I enjoyed talking to her. I would go for 2 or 3 hours at a time, and I mean, she enjoyed having me there because I brought quarters so that she could put in the vending machines and eat better, basically. But she was charming, and I was like, oh, maybe I should still continue to talk to her. I'm like, no,
right.
That's not a good idea. But other criminals that were in some of my books, they, especially the one in that book, the man, that's how he got everything that he got, was through his quote unquote charming ways.
Wow. So are there any, policy prescriptions or laws or things that we should be thinking about or talking about to deal with this kind of situation? Or is this is human nature and there's nothing we can do about it? And, it's mostly we just need to warn people about the dangers of charming psychopaths?
Well, the thing of it is what I consider the romanticization of the true crime is the sensational nature that is broadcasted on the news media, and for some reason attracts a lot of women. They have a couple of stations like the Investigation Discovery Channel and another web-only law and crime channel by Dan Abrams, where it's 24/7 true crime. And those are watched nonstop. And it's because people want to feel a connection to these people, but not be too close. It's the media that, because they every detail about the criminal, but very little about the victim.
That's very interesting. It's sort of like, like walking by a rattlesnake, it's like we're fascinated by it. We don't want to get too close to it. And, if they're in jail, it's kind of a safe distance kind of thing. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's a safe distance and the bad boy thing. And, to some extent, it's about beating the system of these people that have, portrayed themselves as charming but dangerous people. Some of them are in politics.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely believe so. Did you when you were interviewing prisoners and writing your 5 books, and I know you've been on some of these TV programs as well talking about this stuff, did you ever run across anybody who had also been in politics?
I had not come across anybody that had also been in politics. I was dealing with pretty old crimes, and so I mainly focused on the criminals and the victims.
Yeah. So now we've got some elected officials or people running for political office who are just proud of the fact, essentially, that they beat up their wives and stuff. I mean, it's totally
There's
bizarre.
one that just ran for office from jail for, I think, beating up his wife.
You're right. Yeah, for killing his wife. For killing his wife. Yeah, and he won. He won this Republican
right. So there's
position.
The personification of the whole thing, all in one stroke.
I guess it is absolutely extraordinary. Joyce Nance, a member of our team here on the Thom Hartmann Program, an award-winning documentarian, the author of 5 books, including Escaping the Arroyo and Reel to Reel, the Video Store Murderers. Facebook.com/Joyce Nance author. Joyce, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's great having you on the program. We will be right back with your calls here on the Thom Hartmann Program. Anything Goes Friday. Stick around.